So Deion Sanders is still the head coach of Colorado. He's not the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He's not going to be. You're telling me he didn't want to leave Boulder, which looks like a pretty nice place to live, to go to Dallas, which also might not be a terrible place to live. But you're telling me he didn't want to go to a place where he would be under the thumb of Jerry Jones every day, where he'd be having to answer for comments that his owner makes all the time, as opposed to Boulder, where he really is kind of the owner of the team. I mean, everything that happens in Boulder, Deion Sanders gets to decide. Now, he can't magically make money appear. And there were reports about conversations about him and Rick George, the athletic director, and they're going back and forth, and there was a disagreement about this, that, and the other thing, and people tried to spin that to make you think that, oh, well, maybe he'll really take the Cowboys job. The phone call happened. The phone call took place, but that's all it really was. It was a phone call because the Cowboys hired Brian Schottenheimer. So if you were worried about Colorado losing Coach Prime for the Dallas Cowboys, two things that you probably weren't considering. Number one, the Cowboys are a horrifically run organization because Jerry Jones is the one running it. The guy stinks. There's no other general manager in all of football, unless he's, employed by himself, who cannot make a conference championship game in over 25 years and still have his job. But he does. So that's reason number one, frankly, that if I were Deion Sanders pondering, do I want to stay in college or do I want to go try and coach my son Shedeur and be a head coach in the NFL where I played once upon a time? Would I really do that? The Cowboys wouldn't even be one of the jobs that I'd ponder taking, even given the history between the two. I know Coach Prime's got a relationship with Jerry Jones and that Jerry Jones really likes Coach Prime. But let me ask you something. If you think, or why would you think that just because there is a prior connection and a mutual admiration or appreciation or cordiality between the two of those guys, Jerry Jones is suddenly going to stop running the organization? That he's not going to chime in on what Deion would be doing all the time? That's a dramatic shift, not just in coaching, because college and the NFL are different in so many ways, but that's a change in lifestyle. You're going from, I am the CEO and head coach of Colorado football, to I am the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. The brand is bigger than me, even though I'm Deion Sanders. The brand is bigger than me. The owner is the guy running the show. That's a big shift. You have to be dead set on, I'm going to be able to find a way to get Shedeur onto the Cowboys as the quarterback, which means they'd have to offload the Dak Prescott contract, which they're not going to be able to do. Who in their right mind would want to pay a now kind of injury-prone, really expensive and overpaid quarterback? The answer is the Dallas Cowboys and nobody else. And then you consider that everything that would have to line up in order for Shedeur to make his way to Dallas is highly improbable. Coupled with everything that I've been talking about, it never would have made a whole heck of a lot of sense. And in college football, Deion Sanders is kind of in the perfect spot. When he first went to Colorado, I said this is a perfect match because Deion is his own brand. Whether you like him or not, you have an opinion. He's polarizing. He's attention grabbing. But he keeps you in the conversation, keeps you in the loop, keeps you coming up on shows like this one or others across the country because, well, he generates some interest. He generates some intrigue. And in Colorado, he is able to run the show the way that he wants. But there's also value in being Coach Prime that doesn't extend to the NFL. The old adage in college football, adage, however you want to see it, is it about the Jimmies and the Joes or the X's and the O's? Well, of course it is about both. But we saw what happens at Colorado for the past, decade plus in the Big 12, in the Pac-12, going back to the Big 12. If Deion Sanders never shows up, I don't know who it is they're hiring that brings them to the level of expectation that they had at points during the season where it's, hey, can Colorado compete for a playoff spot in a Big 12 championship? Or they beat the national runners-up in his first game as the head coach. I don't think there is another coach in the country that accomplishes all of that because partially Deion brought Shedeur Sanders with him, but he also brought Travis Hunter with him. That guy's a pretty darn good football player. But in Boulder, Deion Prime, Got the wires crossed a little bit right there. Coach Prime has an appeal and a brand that helps the product you put on the field. Nothing about Deion Sanders' personality makes the Cowboys a significantly better football team, but just his mere presence at Colorado gives you access to a higher level of talent than the Buffs had before. No, they have not become a high school recruiting power, but they hit the portal as frequently as anyone else, and they have not just gone out there and found a bunch of scrubs or rotation second level guys. They have found Shedeur Sanders that came with him from Jackson State, admittedly, but Travis Hunter also in that discussion, or the guys they brought in like BJ Green, or even a high school recruit like Jordan Seaton. Those guys, those names were not even sniffing Colorado before he got there. So that's why it's such a great fit, is what he loves to do, whether you like it or not, is be himself, create attention, and give a vibe to a program. That helps elevate the product on the field because it helps you get better players. It doesn't help you in Dallas. In the NFL is for guys like Chip Kelly, for instance, who left being a head coach at UCLA to go be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State and is reportedly at least a candidate for some offensive coordinator jobs like the Texans position in the NFL. Why would he follow that progression? Because he doesn't want to do anything except coach ball. And yes, there are culture guys like Dan Campbell in the NFL, but Chip Kelly just wants to coach ball. Deion Sanders wants to coach ball and do all of the other stuff too. I mean, he was on, I think it was David Letterman recently, or is going to be. There were promos for it during the conference championship games over the weekend. That all fits really, really well. So I understand why people drew that connection of Dallas Cowboys, Deion Sanders. But really, it's just more of the same thing. Big brands, lots of attention, big names. It was never really a great fit in that sense. And Deion Sanders, again, whatever you think of him, is clearly a capable football coach. Colorado improved the first year he was there from the prior season, and they improved from that season to this season. Those are objective facts. You cannot dispute any of that. So he's clearly a capable coach. We'll see what he is without his son there, who is a first-round pick at quarterback and maybe the first quarterback off the board. It's either going to be him or Cam Ward there. But we'll see what he can do in that sense. But that's not the kind of guy the Cowboys typically hire. I mean, Mike McCarthy's fine. Like, whatever. Okay, sure. Mike McCarthy's won a lot of football games. He's a veteran coach. Congratulations, I guess. He's fine. His best days are behind him. But, he's won a lot of football games. But they hire their offense coordinator who's already in the building. I think based on that particular move, it looks like Deion Sanders was the guy that Jerry Jones really wanted, and Deion told him no. That's how that read to me. Because he knows what he has at Colorado and what he can continue to build. And I do think the most genuine Deion Sanders is publicly when he's making, or when he's giving interviews or when he's talking, is the role that he feels that he plays, mentoring young men into being successful in their lives on and off the field. That is when I think he is at his most sincere publicly and not just going out and creating things for attention or taking shots at former players or doing all that sort of stuff. That I think is the best version of Deion Sanders. And that doesn't really carry over to the NFL either. So I never thought it was a great fit. I think Deion Sanders continues to succeed at Colorado. I do think they're a pullback team in 2025, but will he continue winning football games there? I fully expect him to. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.